All right, everyone, welcome to another episode of Wander Lounge Podcast. Today's guest is Iantha Richardson, a talented American actress whose journey from Washington, D.C. to our screens is grounded in art, resilience, and intention. Trained in dance with a degree from Fordham University in the Ailey School, she later transitioned into acting, landing her first notable role in This Is Us before captivating audiences as Tessa Lorraine in American Soul. Her breakout performance as Faith Mitchell on ABC's hit show Will Trent showcases her ability to bring nuance, strength, and heart to a character navigating loyalty, identity, and integrity in a male dominated field. Beyond acting, Iantha writes, directs, and produces, driven from a mission to control the narrative and elevate fresh, meaningful stories from underrepresented perspective. Whether stepping into complex detective roles or heading behind the camera, she brings thoughtfulness, ambition, and creative vision to everything she does. I think you have like the longest bio so far. I love it.
Thank you.
Iantha Richardson and also my cousin. So thank you for being on the show.
Of course.
All right. So obviously I know you, but like tell us who you are, a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you said a lot of it. I'm an actress, I'm an director, I'm a producer. Not so much a writer, but I am currently an actress. I'm on a show called Will Trent, and I'm also just a human. I'm a daughter, I'm a friend, I'm a niece. I am a lover of travel, a lover of food and books and things like that. So yeah.
Yeah, and I was so excited to have you on the show because you exactly like you said, you have so many of these like dynamic experiences. And I feel like so many things to pull from to talk about for today. So thanks again.
Mhm.
Um we always kind of start with kind of like tell us what kind of your own personal relationship you feel like with travel is.
I have always loved to travel. Like, since I was young, I traveled a lot with my family, mainly inside of the US, but my grandma is from the Bahamas, as you know, and so we would go to Miami often and sometimes to the Bahamas just to visit when I was little. And then as I got older, I got more expansive because I was allowed to. So one of the first really, really big trips I did was doing study abroad in Ghana, and from that point on, I was in love. I was like, "Oh, I need to travel at all times." So, I did it again actually for a summer program in Spain, and at that point, I was addicted to going and experiencing new places because honestly, it just widens your perspective and opens you up in a way that you can't get by staying in your normalcy 24/7. So, yeah.
Um Okay, and then also speaking of grandma, I you reminded me that I need to sit down and go through some of those recipes in her cookbook
Yeah,
that she did.
you
I
have
have the cookbook,
to.
but I'm not good at cooking and I really wanna work through some.
Oh my gosh, that's the perfect way to do it. Literally just, like, sit with a cookbook, specifically hers, and go through it step by step. She has some really good ones in there too.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm excited, and I love how through those family roots, you got that first interaction of, like, travel and kind of, like, expanding that, "Hey, like, the world is a very big place. There's a lot of things that I can learn."
Mhm. Absolutely.
Do you have a trip that you can kind of remember or maybe an experience on a trip that you felt like was a moment that you really got to learn something new about yourself or reinvent who Iantha is?
Hmm. Typically when I'm traveling, I'm open to experiencing other people's points of views and you know, it's funny because when I went to Ghana, I went partially because I've heard so much of how it's a transformative experience being there for so long. So I went with this idea of like, when is it going to click? When is the thing that's so special going to hit home and I'm just going to be transformed and it's going to be a newness? And what I realized while I was there for the 3.5 months I was, nothing really clicked. But what I did experience was a version of gratitude and openness to other people's form of appreciation for life, how they walk through life that I did not necessarily see day to day living in America with all of our privileges in certain ways, or just differentness over here. And so that trip in particular, I found myself looking for the change in me, but I realized that it's really just a version of like observing someone else's life, which you can do anywhere. That was the change in perspective, not necessarily innately who I was, if that makes sense. Like, I don't think I changed, but I think perspective was opened, like I said.
Yeah, I would agree. I Ghana's on my travel list. I haven't been to Ghana yet, but I've done a little bit of travels through Africa, and it was just really interesting to see how, like, the day-to-day of so many people are so different, and I can think of some specific examples where I'm like, "Oh, that's just very different from anything we would do in the US." Um, and one example is that, people don't really care if people are, like, late. People, like, walk a lot slower.
Yeah.
Um, if there's, like, a work meeting, it's like, you don't know who had to, like, get 3 kids ready, who have to walk, like, 5 miles to get to this meeting. So there's a lot of more, like, grace with, like, time and just really not an urgency. It's like, "What are we rushing for? We're gonna get to it anyway." Or, I got very comfortable. I don't know if it's the same in Ghana, but, like, um, in Mozambique, of just kind of, like, sitting and being with people. You don't really always have to talk. Like, I would have member neighbors come over and visit and just kinda sit and have a cup of tea, and that was really it. If we had something to talk about, we would, but if we didn't, we didn't, and it was just nice to have the company, and then they would go home, and that was that, like, social interaction. So, um, yeah, I felt like those are some kind of, like, little perspective that were really different and things that I tried to kinda, like, bring back to the US, but it doesn't work if no one else is doing it, so
Yeah, that's the thing. That's why it's great to travel because, you also appreciate I ended up appreciating the US for what it was as well simultaneously, right? Because we have our own issues, but, like, you go over there, they're like, "Oh my gosh, the US," for whatever reasons. But yeah, so many little differences that make all the difference, and you can bring back mindset, at least for me, I was able to bring back some things like versions of gratitude and things like that, but yeah.
Mhm. Oh, okay, I love that. So, I feel like, and between your career and your love for travel, you travel a lot for both. How does the travel for like working versus the travel, that you do maybe just for fun or vacation look a little bit different? Or do you kind of just try to structure a little bit of work and play in both scenarios?
Well, as of right now, I've been traveling for work in the US, so it's a little different. It is on my bucket list, hopefully in the next year, to be able to travel outside of the country for work. Like, I would love to shoot in like South Africa or Europe or something like that. But, for now, because it's in the US, it's typically shorter stints. And because I work for so long outside of where I live, which is Los Angeles, I work in Atlanta. When I do have to travel for work, I'm typically like, I don't wanna be there for too long. I'm not trying to, like, be in New York or New Orleans for, like, ever. I wanna go home because I don't get to be home as often as I can be, but you know, on those trips, I try to always incorporate a version of like the culture of the city. So I just came back from New York like a few weeks ago. And of course, I had to see a Broadway show and see all my friends because I used to live in New York. I'm going to New Orleans in a month or two for work. And I'm like, okay, I should explore the city. Let me extend it by a day or so just to like see it because I've never been there. Whereas when I'm traveling for myself, I'm typically going out of the country. Like I'm going unless it's for family. Like I just came back from the Amalfi Coast like a month ago just to go and see and visit and be in the culture. So there's a lot more time to just be. I don't have to squeeze in the me time when there's no work, but when there's work, it's typically like go 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 and I have to figure out when I'm going to do certain things and I definitely can't do everything that I want to.
Yeah, I can see that. And I don't travel for my job, but I imagine I feel the same way. It's like love being in my home. I love having that opportunity to, like, recharge that social battery. So, like, that's a good point. I could see, like, if I had to travel a lot for work, it's like, "Okay, this is great. Let me see, like, the top hit spots, but, like, I'm gonna be in my bed."
Yeah. That's really it. I just wanna be in around, like, my people and, like, yeah, all those things, yeah.
Mhm. Do you find, like, when you travel, this can either be for work or for, like, fun and vacation, um, do you find what are ways that you find or get that sense of, like, community where you're traveling? Or do you prefer to kind of be, like, navigate those spaces solo?
I love navigating through spaces solo. I typically have been going places lately with others, I will
Mhm.
say, so I'm not really solo traveling too much. I went to Italy last year as well, and my goal was to make it like a solo trip, but I didn't want it to be too solo, so I was like, I want at least one person there that I know. So I went on a retreat. And some of the places I went by myself, like Rome and Florence, but when I was in Tuscany, the whole time I was on a retreat, and my friend was one of the retreat like hosts. So she did all the sound baths and Pilates classes and stuff like that. I didn't join in. I literally came because she was there. And on her off time, I would be able to explore with her. So I love bringing people who I love with me to travel. Even if it's just like one person, because I get to experience those places with people. But then if I am solo traveling, the point is to be immersed in the community. And so I would go places and meet people and then, like, hopefully, gain a version of community or be able to move along with new people that I'm meeting. But I really just wanna experience the lifestyle of the community that's already rooted, so I don't necessarily have to, like, take it on, but an observer is the point. I want to perceive, not be perceived.
Mhm. Oh my gosh, and I've heard so many good, like, talks where people talk about, um, when you go other places, you need to remember that you're a guest,
Mhm.
like, put your biases at the door, so I love that, like, being an observer when you go and travel.
Mhm.
Um, do you feel like there has ever been a role where you've had the opportunity to pull from, like, a culture you visited from, or maybe someone you've met while traveling, or that's been, like, any inspiration into, either an acting or dancing role or producing role you've done?
Probably not that I've done I mean, maybe, I guess, even when I think about the role that I play right now, I'm not Southern nor from the South, so a lot of what I'm pulling in terms of, like, thought, like, how she might think about things or move about her world is from people who I know who are from the South. So that's a version of, like, pulling from my travel, I guess. But there have been a lot of auditions that I've had that I've definitely had to pull from, like, my ideas or, conversations with people who are from Africa or from Europe or the UK or from London, like accents that I've had to pull, ways that they move. So that's cool. And I would love to actually be able to deep dive into a character that way, not just for an audition one day, but not yet.
Mhm. Yeah, and I imagine, like, it must be, like, an advantage to actually have had those opportunities and people that you've connected with to be able to pull from those roles as well as versus maybe someone, who's in that career who hasn't had those same, um, chances or opportunities to meet and speak with those people.
Absolutely. I think it just helps, like, people are all actors are always pulling from the things that they've seen and they've known and understood. And I think a lot of times I remember watching this interview about Ice Cube in Boys in the Hood. And the
Mhm.
reason why he said he played his role so well was because these are people who he knew. Like, this wasn't necessarily him, but these are the people on the block who he grew up with. And I think that's similar for a lot of actors, like, they know the people that they're playing. They're like, "Oh, this is easy because I know this person." So, yeah, it helps a lot.
Mhm. You're also portraying a woman who's navigating justice, loyalty, and identity. What personal truths or experiences do you draw or bring from that, to bring your role to life?
I think a lot of things. Typically, when I dive into a character, I see it if I relate to them first and foremost. And with her, I did just even on set, being the youngest, like, I am the youngest person on the set, like, in terms of our top 6 build. Um, and so is Faith. Faith is the youngest in the GBI, and she has to prove a lot. And I feel like that also is art imitating life because I think I do too in some ways or have, and learning a lot from people as well simultaneously. So that's just one thing, but there's so many things that I've taken from her. We're not the same person by any means, but we definitely have a lot of similarities in how we walk through life and yeah.
Do you ever get, I feel like hear like actors talk a lot that people expect them to be like the characters they play when you meet people on the street. Do you feel like you get that sometimes?
Maybe. I don't think they know my characters. I don't well, not let me say this. I don't think I get it from people on the street as much as I get it from people who are in closer proximity, like a friend of a friend.
Hmm.
So yeah, strangers don't because they're just saying hi and bye, and I don't think they a perception of me or a thought as to, like, who my real self is. They're still just seeing, like, what they're projecting because 'cause they're just looking at me for a snapshot. But in terms of people who are close, they're like, "Oh, you're nothing like your character." Or people who actually know me who are seeing the television version, they're like, "That's not you. You're really putting on this character." So that's always a good thing to hear.
Yeah, I know. And they're basically complimenting you. You're a
Yeah.
great actress.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, okay, when you're picking a role or a project to work on, and this can be, all the aspects that you do that you work in that art. Do you have like a personal kind of like mission or goal that you help to use to help you pick and choose which projects you're going to work on?
I'm not at the point where I'm definitely not at the point where I can pick all of the projects that I work on. Let's say that first. But when it comes to the things that I would like to do versus me maybe turning down an audition, I really just go by my own morals. Like if I don't feel like I would be comfortable watching it or being a part of something on a larger moral basis, then I won't choose it. But if it's something that resonates with me, a story that I'd be excited to tell or that I want people to see or that I think is just cool and be fun to play, like then I'll do it if that makes sense.
Well, I remember being a kid and going to your dance recital, because I know that's how you started career, and I thinking it was like the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
What got you into the arts, and when you had a very successful dance career very earlier on, did you know your goal was to pivot and turn into acting?
What got me into the arts? Well, my dad was a musician. We had a whole music room in my house that was full of instruments. He could play anything. And then my grandfather was also a musician, my dad's dad. Um, like one of his best friends was Frankie Beverly. My brother also could play almost any instrument. Like they were very proficient in almost any instrument that they played, which is crazy. Like they could pick up a guitar, the piano, flute, and they were really good at it. So I always had music around me growing up. And although I did not like the piano, which was what both of them were really good at, and they tried to get me to do it, I did like to dance and I like to imagine and create stuff. Like I remember from a young age just being very, very precocious, possibly is the word, but um always creating imaginary scenarios with my brother and then to music creating skits and playing them out. And my parents are just like, let's just let her do what she wanted to do. So that led to them putting me in dance and they put me in every other sport. I've been in probably any other sport, but I kept coming back to dance. So it was really just something that I gravitated towards organically without force. And I never knew that I was going to pivot. I figured in each moment, I was very present in what I was doing. So I thought I would be a dancer forever while I was dancing. Thought I would possibly dance overseas and do like contemporary ballet, but never did I think of even wanting to be an actor until I started taking acting classes and was like, "Oh, I like this." So yeah.
Oh, I love that. Was it just like, "Oh, I'm just gonna take this, like, local class at the theater for fun," or kind of
Mhm.
what, yeah, what brought that up or gave you the thought for it?
Yeah, so you always have to take theater classes or acting classes as a dancer, specifically a dance major in college. So I took a lot of that. And then my second major was African American history, which I focused in on the arts when it came to that major at Fordham. So I took a lot of film and TV and African American history, or, Young Black and Gifted, where like Harry Belafonte taught the class, or Rhonda Ross. So I had a lot of acting classes in my second major, not intentionally. I just gravitated towards it. And then when I moved to LA, I moved in with one of my best friends who is a dancer. She's a dance teacher right now. But then her friend at the time, who now I'm close with, but her friend moved in as well, and I didn't know her, but she wanted to be an actress, and she was like, "I'm looking for acting classes," and I happened to, like, pass by one on Instagram or something, and I was like, "Oh, you should try this one. I've been seeing it everywhere." And so she ended up going, and I was like, "I'll go with you. It'll help my dance career, like, commercial work." So I just moved to LA. Why not? We ended up going, she left the class and I stayed, and I was like, "Oh, I actually really like this class." And it was a teacher named Dustin Felder, and I met some of the like, some really, really talented actors who are working up until this day. She's still working up until this day, a phenomenal actress, and so, yeah, that's how I got into it.
I mean, honestly, that seemed like such a like it was destined almost, like the fact that you moved to LA and like that you ran into that person. It almost felt like everything was kind of like set up for that destined for this.
Yeah. It definitely wasn't orchestrated on my behalf, but so, yeah. Yes.
I mean, it's not only that, you dipped your toe in it, you became very successful. So, I mean, that's awesome. I love that for you.
Thank you.
Okay, do you feel like you have a medium that is your favorite between like your acting, producing, writing, or kind of do they just kind of interconnect?
Yeah, so I definitely don't write. I don't like to write, but I do direct. And acting is right now my favorite. Acting is hands down like my favorite. I enjoy the rest, but I haven't had a lot of time in the rest. I'm like playing in the other fields a little more right now, so I would definitely say, and as an actress, that's what I can see. Even when I look at my life like 10 years from now, I always still want to act. Although I want all of those things to rise to the surface as well, like I can never say that I don't won't want to act at some point.
Um, what advice would you give someone who wants to start like maybe an acting career or is thinking about moving to LA? But just needs that little push of advice to make that jump.
I would say love it. Like don't do it unless you absolutely know that you love it. And see if you love it first. Take classes, see if you like the classes. I actually liked going to class. The reason that I stuck with acting was because I was like, can I do this? Just classes and actually love it, like love the work of it. And I did. I really loved going to classes. I would do this even if I didn't get paid for it. Whereas, you have to watch where your intentions lie and what you're going after, because the rest, it'll come and go. The industry is very shaky currently. But if you love it, it'll come to you. So that would be my advice. In LA, you can move anywhere. You can move to LA, Atlanta, New York. Right now, those are the places that you have the most opportunity probably to move to. But if you want to move to LA, see if you love it first. I also did that. Like I came here for a month and I stayed on a friend's couch and I was like, do I like it? Like I'll rent a car, I'll save up money so I can just be here for a month, and I liked living here before I got here, so, less of going with the idea of what things seem like they are, more of, like, testing it for yourself and really feeling in your body if it actually works for you.
Okay, I feel like that's great advice. One, that what a blessing. I feel like there's so many people who cannot say that they genuinely love what they do for like their work. So that's amazing that you're able to find that thing that you're so passionate about. I feel like that's a huge statement to say, I would do this even if I wasn't getting paid for it. Like I feel like there were few and far between people who can agree with that. Um, but then also, yeah, what great advice, stay for a month, see if you like the city. As someone who, when I moved back to the US in 2020, I was just like, "Oh, I'll move back to the US." And I ended up moving to 4 different cities because I could not find what city I felt like matched for me or, like, fit me, and I now am in Charlotte and love Charlotte and can see myself staying here for a while, but this is, like, the first time in, almost 5 years in, like, the 4th city that I've moved to trying to figure
Wow.
out, like, where do I fit in? Like, the culture is so different, and I tell people
Yeah.
this all the time, "If you're not happy where you live, move, try somewhere else."
You don't have to stay where you are. And I do like I give a testament to my parents to the fact that I love what I do because I had the opportunity to do so. I think they both had passions that they weren't fully allowed to pursue because of life and circumstances, and they made it so that I was privileged enough to be able to go after what I want. And they always would say like, "What do you want to do? Like what do you want to do?" We can have a backup plan just in case something doesn't work out. But like, you like shoelaces, you can own a shoelace company. Like, it does not matter what it is. You can make money doing what you want. Just figure out what you like. And I think the idea of me doing so many sports and like going to all these classes when I was young was really an exercise of saying, like, you like it, you don't, we can pivot. You're gonna have to finish out this like season of it, but then we could try something else to see if you like it, and it gave me the ability to say like, "Oh, I like this. Oh, I don't." Which is why like for writing, I can say like, "I've tried it. I've written a feature film. The rewrites are not fun for me." I would never say I'm a writer because I don't like it. Directing, I've tried it and I love it. I love sitting in the editing bay and being on set. All of those things excite me. So I think the like kudos again to my parents for allowing me to explore and saying like you can make money doing quite literally anything that you love. Just think really big and go for it.
Yeah, and I love that your parents made that space for you, and I always feel like it's interesting when we kinda, like, reflect on our parents in that way. Like, I remember one time recently, I'm gonna say, like, within the past 2 years, my dad always liked to play instruments, and I would see him kind of play, but he made a comment like, "Oh, yeah, like, my dream job was to become a pianist," but where he grew up in rural Alabama, like, men didn't play the piano. Um, and that hurt my heart so much for him that he's like a computer engineer, that's a career path he chose, but, you know, it wasn't even an opportunity for him. So I think you're right. I think a lot in ways, like, our parents try to kinda open that door and um, allow for us to have the opportunities to follow their passion. I have not found mine yet, but
Yeah, I mean, you can find it. Again, it's like the trial and error. And again, I'm grateful that they allowed me to do that at a young age so that when I was older, I was like, okay, I know how to do trial and error now. Like, make sure you keep working, like, always go to the next job. Make sure that the job is doing something for what you want to do in the future. You know what I'm saying? Like, little tools, you can always like figure it out. And time is endless. It's finite, but it's endless. Like, you have time to figure out what you wanna do. And it's funny because, yeah, my dad also, like I said, is a musician, but I think his proximity to like I said, his best friend was Frankie Beverly and Maze, like, his proximity to or Frankie Beverly, to music and seeing somebody be able to do it. He got into Juilliard, he just didn't go because he ended up going to Vietnam. Like, there are certain things it's like, "No, I didn't get to do this, but you're gonna get to do this." So, it's
Right.
really awesome. Really, really grateful for that.
Yeah, that representation is so important.
Mhm.
Just like seeing it to know it's possible. Do you feel like, and maybe pressure isn't the right word, but in any way, do you feel like you just being present as like, a female actress, a black actress, all the things, any type of like responsibility or like reflect in any way about being that example for other young women?
I'm grateful. I'm really grateful for the opportunity to showcase a version of Blackness. I don't think my way is the only way. I don't think like the pressure can't be there because there's so many versions of this that I can't possibly show every single version, right? I can
Mhm.
show the sides that God allows me to, the roles that I'm allowed to play, that I have the opportunity to play. and I can do it to the best of my ability, but that's literally all I can do. But I'm really grateful to be able to show that representation because I do believe that that is a part of my mission and purpose in this life since I was in college and we had to like write our missions in life, like beyond career, beyond the things that we'll do, but like what is your mission in life? And mine, I do believe is to show Black women, Black people as a non-monolith. And so I'm doing this in multiple ways, whether that's as a dancer, an actress, where I get to show these different characters, or a director where I get to like bring these stories forward in a specific way. Like I am grateful that I know that this is for me. So there's no pressure. It just feels like it's mine.
Mhm. Oh, you're so well spoken, Iantha.
Thank you.
You're just like, I always feel like I have a hard time getting what I want to say out, and you're just, you're great. Um, okay. Do you have like an actor that you view as kind of like a role model or someone, whether who they are as a person or can just be based on their career that you're like, oh my gosh, yeah, like that's what inspires me?
I have a few people. I always call Issa Rae the blueprint. I love her entrepreneurship because I really love creating things. Like I want multiple businesses. And I think to be able to do that under an umbrella of a brand of who you are is the coolest thing because that means it's all encompassing to your identity and what you want to bring to this world. Like everything is under one umbrella of your pillars of core values and all of these things that you believe in. So I would love to own multiple businesses like Issa Rae. I also love Debbie Allen if we're going back because she was a dancer turned actress, now director, and also has produced so many things. She has her own dance school and now middle school in Los Angeles, which has done so much for the community here, like off Crenshaw. And I would love to do something like that at some point. Kerry Washington and Regina King, they're both two actresses who have had pivotal movie careers as well as television careers, and now are directing as well as owning their own production companies and still acting. And I would love to do those as well. So those women are an amalgamation of how I see my life going on top of like their family lives are very present and not forward. They have privacy, but they all have husbands and children and full family lives behind the scenes as well. And that's something that is also very important to me to have at some point. So yeah.
Yeah. I would definitely agree with you as well. On all those names, but especially like Issa Rae. I am just so inspired about all her different businesses. And okay, so I was recently talking to someone about unfortunately, the person who was running these groups had to stop. But when I first moved to Charlotte, I joined this group of like female entrepreneurs. And it was the first time I've been in a space with these women who own multiple businesses, and their conversations are just different. And it was like, I always knew that or interested in like an entrepreneurial side because I don't feel like everyone should be a business owner. I feel like it has to be like a certain drive in you. You have to be someone who knows that you can create things from scratch, and just like different characteristics. Um, but it was so cool to see these women who not only ran one successful business, but multiple successful businesses. And it was just like, oh, this can actually be a thing. This is not a thing that I made up in my head. These are like people around me who are doing this. So yeah, just to see, these actresses, well, who use their brand to create so many incredible things. Like Issa Rae, she even had some like coffee shops that she's like building. And I don't know.
I just went before I got here. I was at her coffee shop. She has like four of them in LA.
Oh, how is it?
It's great. I go there all the time. It's down the street from my house.
Love it. Do you have an idea of what you want your first business to be? Or you're like, no, I just know I want to be an entrepreneur and I'll know when the opportunity arises.
Yeah, I have a few in mind. I actually have at least 3 in my head, but what I love the most about Issa Rae is that none of her businesses are from scratch. Um, Most of them are collaborations and brands that were already established. She just used her brand as the overarching thing, and what I know for a fact is that I'm not proficient in any of the things that I want, but I do know that I could help things elevate, and I would love to be a part of somebody else's journey to making something like those things happen, whether it be like a coffee shop like her, or I don't know, a bookstore, bakery, all those things, whatever those things are. I'm not a baker. I'm not a coffee maker. I am not in the hospitality industry, but I would love to partner with people who are and who have that passion to be able to build something that is aligned in my brand. So I think that is the coolest part of what she does as well. Like elevates other people who are doing great things to an even higher level in collaboration.
Yeah, there's so much power in that, and you can um change someone's life so much with that. There's this woman that I met in my recent trip to Mexico City,
Mhm.
and she has like a big social media platform, and she was telling me kind of like similar. She's like, I'm not a bartender, but I have a big platform and I'm good at social media. And she started this bar with this other woman, and it's like all female. All the bartenders are female. Like everyone who's in this business are female. And for like Mexico, that's a very big deal. But a lot the success helped what she already had this large social media platform from other things that
And
she was doing that she was able to kind of like bring into this collaboration.
yeah, that's super special. I love that. And they're elevating you simultaneously. It's not just like one way, right? Like
Yeah.
their knowledge is just helping you get better. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm excited to see all the other things you're going to be doing. You've already done a ton of
Yes.
cool things that have been fun to watch.
Thank
But
you.
do you have an unspoken hope or something that you hope that people who kind of like watch your work will experience or carry after on in your acting legacy?
Yeah. I hope the version of authenticity that I bring to any of these characters inspires people to also be their fullest self.
I love that.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
I mean, and that's such a great way, like, to leave it like such a great legacy to leave.
Yeah, you would always want somebody to feel like they don't have to be anybody but themselves. But I think people who are authentically themselves inspire others to be that. And the beauty about TV and film is you put it on such a big platform, they don't feel alone. So yeah, the idea is to tell nuanced stories about individuals who don't always get to be told or spoken about so that others are like, "Oh, wow, this is a version of me that I'm seeing," or like a version of somebody else that I'm exposed to and now I can't say that I don't know. Whatever the case may be, like you should feel authentically inspired to either learn more about other people or to not. So yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh. Okay, going back to our queen, Issa Rae,
Yes.
what you said just reminded me about it. Okay, so when I used to watch her YouTube videos of the misadventures of awkward Black girls before it became Insecure, I
Yes.
remember watching those videos and kinda like a point in which you're saying is like seeing that character, like, I can relate to that so much of being kind of like the awkward Black girl in the situation, not knowing what to say, and the fact that she made a whole hit series about it. I
Mhm.
love that so much. I was like,
Yeah,
I get that. So I love that people are watching your shows and watching your characters and experiencing that same thing.
absolutely. Like, literally, that role is so specific too because there's so many awkward Black girls out there that just never you rarely see that out or exposed. So, like, so smart of her because that's not a niche of woman who is, like, consistently out, and even if you're not categorized as an awkward girl,
Yeah.
like, you probably feel that way 9 times out of 10, so it relates to everybody.
Oh, absolutely. How do you define success for yourself now, and how has that definition evolved as you've matured in your career and personal life?
I define success for myself now as really, really enjoying the work that I'm doing, like, and the people that I'm around, like, in the place that I'm shooting, like, enjoying the moment. I think there's so many versions of success. I think that if I can be in a little bubble doing a script that I love, a story that I really believe in with filmmakers who I think believe in it just as much as I do and believe in me, like that's the goal. Like that is success or creating a show that I believe in or directing something that I feel connected to. Traveling, being fully present and enjoying the moment I'm in is the
Mhm,
goal. And then also simultaneously, like, yes, and being able to inspire others while doing so and reaching a large audience who can be inspired by those things. Um, so I wanna feel good in my little bubble about what I'm doing, and I also wanna be able to affect change through what I'm doing and experiencing. Yeah.
mhm. That's a great version of success, honestly, and I love that. I feel like a lot of people are kind of, like, changing success from, like, a monetary value. Like, a lot of people in our generation are younger. I feel like, the old American dream is dead. I feel like people want freedom, people want passions, people want, like, community. Um, so yeah, that's really nice to hear.
Yeah, community. And I think all of that naturally comes in filmmaking. Like, community is a huge thing. I have been blessed to inherently have that around me for the majority of my life. And it's not lost on me that community is such a central part of my life that I rarely speak about because it's always there a little bit. But that is a big thing. Family, whether it's created or inherited, that is a huge thing. And really pouring into that. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, we always end the show with rapid fire questions. So tell me the first thing that comes to mind when I say these. Okay. Window seat or aisle seat?
Window.
Window. What's a book that changed your life?
Return to Love by Marianne Williamson.
I love that you have that right at the top of your head.
Mhm.
Okay. What's it about? I'm curious.
It's based on the Book of Miracles, which I don't know if you heard about that, but it's a derivative of the Bible, and she basically talks about love and how we all experience it, how everything in this world, if it's not pertaining to love, it's not real. Everything else is a veil or a facade, and it just talks about and walks us through, like, how God is obviously love and how to move like that with your brother or your sister or your friend or your lover, in a way that pleases God through love. That's it, like, so yeah.
Oh, that sounds beautiful.
Mhm.
Okay. And what is one word your closest friends would use to describe you?
Clear, like, very clear and probably confident. So, yeah.
I feel like you have to be if you're working as an actor.
Yeah, I don't always feel it, but I can tell, like, the outside masses are just like, "Oh, she's very sure of herself." Like, I've heard that before, if that makes sense a lot.
Mhm. Or as Rihanna would say, the days you don't feel sure of
Yeah,
yourself, fake
fake
it.
it.
Thank
Fake
it.
it. Yeah.
What is one thing that you always pack in your bag?
My wallet.
True. What's a song that instantly puts you in a good mood?
There's a song by Lucky Day. I forget the name of it, but honestly, any of his records are great. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And what's the best and or worst travel advice you've ever gotten?
Uh, that foreigners in any country, whether it be Italy or Africa, wherever, don't like Black people. Now, there are some places that are very true, like, and I've experienced it, but the majority, there's a lot of different places that people are like, they don't like Black people, they're racist. And I've
Mhm.
heard it from multiple people, and I'm like, that is not true of everyone. I've had great experiences in a lot of places where people have had terrible ones. So, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, so true. I also get that a lot. And I also feel like I've learned that racism to any race can sometimes present differently in different countries as well. But yeah, I feel like I hear that a lot, like, "Oh, I don't wanna travel because, like, we don't know, like, how our race will be perceived in another country," and I would say more times than not, I've had positive experiences.
Yeah. Or traveling far the fear of anything. Like, quite literally, people make up fears about everything for traveling far. I'm like, 9 times out of 10, it's just something you heard and you haven't experienced, so you're putting it out there, but it's really, like, not that bad. Like, you could
Mhm.
probably have a good time. What you eat, you probably won't get sick, like, you'll actually probably just enjoy yourself, so, yeah, fear-mongering, any
We
version
don't
of it.
we don't accept that here.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Well, now's the time, Ayanna, if you have any last thoughts or anything that you want to say that we weren't able to get to. And then after that, please plug away. Tell us where we can find you or any upcoming projects that you're working on.
Yeah, no, just thank you for having me. It's really been fun speaking to you. I'm on Will Trent, so make sure you guys watch. Our 4th season is coming up this coming January 2026 on ABC and Hulu. And you can find me at Iantha, Iantha Cherie, Sherii, on any social platforms, specifically Instagram and TikTok, though.
Yes. And I would say, that show is amazing. So so y'all definitely need to watch it and lock in. My
Mm.
best friend in Ohio, we used to live together, and I had her watch the first episode, and it was like the next day it came out, and she was just like binge watching it with like
Alright, yay! That's what I
she's
love to
like, the show is
hear.
so good. I was like, yeah.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Yay, good. Alright, thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Later.
It was so fun.
Okay.